An interesting thing that occurs in a lot of boxing related classes is that someone who is a boxer, as they call themselves, tells someone else that they're doing something wrong. Well, let me tell you something about boxing, boxers, boxing coaches. None of us agree on anything before you start. So if you're thinking someone comes along and tells you you're doing something wrong and you think I'm doing it wrong, you may not be doing it wrong at all. The fact is we don't agree on anything. Let me take, for example, two really simple things. Say, for example, I've got the pads on. One of the biggest disagreements that we have is whether or not you meet the punches when someone is punching at you. That's one of the biggest disagreements that we have. Many coaches say, no, keep the pads still. And some coaches say, yeah, you should meet the punch. Both are correct in different situations. But if you see someone doing this and you say, you're doing that wrong, you should keep it still. Or you see someone keeping it still and you say, you're doing it wrong, you might not have the understanding of the fact that they're doing it for a particular person. What's worse is when someone does one or the other thing and they do it in the wrong situation. For example, I'll tell you what, you should never ever meet the punch of a beginner. But when you're working with someone that is an experienced boxer, hell yeah, you're going to meet the punch. The truth is, watch our other videos, you shouldn't really be able to meet the punch of a boxer. You actually meet to this point here because this is the point that all of the punches, apart from the body shots, are going to go through, in which case they go there. So you actually meet to this point. If you can meet someone's punch, then there's something wrong with the punch because it means you're able to see it. So that's something to consider. Now, the other thing that we never agree on, and 50% of people are on one side and 50% of people are on the other side, is this one. And it is absolutely central to all of the arguments that we have in boxing. Do you throw your hook with your palm facing down like this? Or do you throw your hook with your palm facing in like this? Okay, there are two schools of thought. Both can be correct. And there are cases where you throw the hook with the palm facing out like this. And the reason for this is with amateur boxers, it is absolutely vital that they land with the knuckle part of the glove. Now, if I throw my hook like this, what could happen is if someone's too far away from me, as I do that, this could hit with this part of the glove here, there, if they're too far away, instead of there, like that. Can you see the difference when we'd use different positions? And the referee is going to warn me for slapping. Now, that's in the case of competitive amateur boxers. Now, they should, without doubt, they should be punching like this. There are cases when they throw like this, when it's a shorter hook, but mid-range to long range, they will change the palm position. So don't tell anyone they're throwing a punch wrong. You don't know necessarily that they're doing it for a particular reason. And the majority of professionals, we kind of have a difference of opinion, 50-50 on one way to the other. But in fitness, this is the point that I'm going to make. You should always be throwing a punch like this. There is never a case when the referee is going to warn you for slapping. And when you throw your punch like this, it is far, far, far safer than when you punch like this. Let me explain. Okay, so this is the heavy bag. It's the most dangerous piece of equipment in the gym because there's a lot of inertia in this thing. I'm going to demonstrate from the wrong side, so I'm going to go southpaw for this so that you can see which way I'm going to do this. Now, the problem is that when I throw my hook like this, if it lands, can you see that I'm palm facing down there? If it lands here, that is perfectly safe. The problem is that with a beginner, as the bag begins to move, they'll throw their shot too late and the punch will go around the back there. Can you see that there, where I'm punching? And that is going to snap back against there and the scaphoid bone will hit the radius bone and the scaphoid bone is going to lose, okay? So in fitness, when we turn the palm this way, like this, if they miss the back of the bag, all that happens is they give the bag a bit of a slap. So in terms of are you doing it wrong, it depends on the circumstances. But one thing is for absolute sure, that unless you know why someone is doing something, you shouldn't be interfering with the way that they're coaching. If you are, then you're a complete arse. If you're qualified in what you're doing, go away and do it somewhere else. But don't go to somebody's class and say, oh, you're doing it wrong for this or this or this, because you do not know anything about the people that they're working with. So consider what you're doing before you open your mouth. Because quite frankly, the only person you're going to make look stupid is yourself if you comment to other people. Keep your comments respectful and put a little bit of perspective on this, and bear in mind that in boxing we consider that there is always more than one way to do something, and also bear in mind that as boxers, coaches, competitors, spectators, fitness participants, we never agree anyway, so take that with a little bit of perspective.